Get a prize in every package. Huh?
Well, what if I'm wrong? I mean, anybody could be wrong. We could all be wrong about the flying spaghetti monster and the pink unicorn.
What's a flying spaghetti monster?
You happen to be brought up, I would presume, in the Christian faith. You know what it's like not to believe in a particular faith because you're not a Muslim. You're not
No, I'm not Muslim. I'm not a Hindu because I'm not.
Denmark in the time of the Vikings, you'd be believing in Wotan and Thor. If you were brought up in classical Greece, you'd be believing in Zeus.
What the heck's he talking about? Yada, 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 yada. Answer the question. Is that guy ever going to answer the question? I mean, who is this guy? Huh. If I'm wrong about the great juju at the bottom of the sea. Well, I don't know who the great juju at the bottom of the sea is. But I know that if I believe in Jesus Christ and that He died for my sins, and all I got to do is acknowledge that, He hears me, and that gets me written in a book of life, to where if the physical realm gets wiped out, or at least the earth, it gets recreated and then I get to live forever on it. Sounds like a pretty good deal. Sounds like pretty good insurance to me. So what if I'm wrong? I guess if I'm wrong, I just suffer whatever the consequences are if that doesn't happen. That guy never answered the question. All he said is, what if I'm wrong about a great juju monster at the bottom of the sea? What's up with that? What if he's wrong? What if he goes his whole life and figures out at the very end, he discovers that the great juju monster is the one that created the universe? Well, what if he's wrong? Here's what happens if he's wrong. You know what this is? You have any idea what this is? Want me to show you? Hey, Mr. Dawkins. I bet you believe in the spaghetti monster now, don't you? I mean, does that kind of like make any sense to you? I'm told that all these guys are like so justified. All these guys, they're so ethical, they're so moral. They know everything about morality. They don't need anybody to tell them. They already know. I could show you. Go to the vlog of this thing where this guy's talking about the spaghetti monster and the juju monster at the bottom of the sea. This guy says, first of all, you blankety cultist moron. Darwin was a trained geologist. Second, 98% of the U.S. scientists support Darwinian evolution to this day. That's today. Third, Dawkins is one of the leading evolutionary biologists on Earth. And even he could not disprove your hobgoblin, since anyone with half a brain knows you can't prove a negative. Well, that might be true because, you know, you've got two parts in your brain. One of them is logical and one of them is creative. And if you've only got half of it, maybe that's where these guys are coming from, because you've got to have evidence to believe in anything. If I'm a sniper on a hill and you don't see me and you don't got no evidence, I mean, I think you can see the end result. On the other hand, do you think that these evolutionists know so much about the physical realm that there's no possible way that it couldn't have created itself? Not a single hypothesis has been untested. Everything about it has already been tested and proven, and therefore it's evidence. It's possible. If you got half a brain, you can believe it. You know what's interesting is, this is not no joke, man. The spaghetti monster. Check this out. See that? This is the guy's book, man. You could buy this thing at a Walmart, okay? $10. All over the world. Probably. At least all over America. That's where Walmarts are. $10.50 at Walmart. But he's not in it for the money, no. You want to know why he's in it? The Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is a satirical book written by Bobby Henderson that embodies the main beliefs of the parody religion, the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, or Pastafarianism. The Flying Spaghetti Monster was created by Bobby Henderson in an open letter to the Kansas State Board of Education, in which he parodied the concept of intelligent design. Oh, really? After Henderson posted the letter to his website, it became an internet phenomenon and was featured in many large newspapers, which caught the attention of the book publishers. There you go. Well, he's a writer. I mean, what can you expect from a writer, right? I'll grant him that. It's fine. Uh-oh. What's this? The Flying Spaghetti Monster is the deity of the parody religion, the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, or Pastafarianism. And he wrote this book. Why did he write this book? And when did he know it? He wrote it to keep intelligent design out of our school system. And just teach evolution. It's fair. I mean, I don't believe in evolution, but it's okay to teach my kids evolution. So my child is going to grow up believing in evolution. I have a problem with that. Maybe you don't, but I do. And I'm a citizen here too. Well, maybe the Flying Spaghetti Monster is not a bad idea to put in school, because he's suggesting that if we keep the intelligent design there, we should also insert the Spaghetti Monster too. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, while having existed in secrecy for hundreds of years, only recently came into the mainstream, where a letter was published in 2005 about Christian Spaghetti Monster. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, while having existed da-di-da-di-da-di-da, with millions if not thousands of devout worshippers, the Church of the FSM is widely considered a legitimate religion, even by its opponents, most fundamentalist Christians, who have accepted that our God has larger balls than theirs. Yeah, that sounds like a legitimate religion to me. Something good for my children to learn. If these folks are telling me that they've got so good at morals and so good at ethics, is this an example of it? Because is this where our society's going? Into a new world order that's controlled by people who believe in evolution and know God? So that they can then share all of their love, ethics, and morality with me and my child? Do you see where this is going? You guys are being duped. You think I'm being duped? You got a little core of people right here, okay? They know about all the hypotheses around gravity and matter, and they know that it didn't just create itself. Okay? You can't prove a negative. Okay? You can't touch the non-existence of gravity or the non-existence of matter. There's no evidence there that it never existed, first of all. Secondly, there's no way you have evidence that it just came into being by itself. It's a negative. And even if it was, you know, these guys know. They know. They're surrounded by a bunch of scientists. They pay for half of them or more, or threaten them with death, one of the two. And those guys do their job the same way a soldier does his job. He holds his rifle up. I'm doing it for my country. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. Kaboom. Well, that's how he justifies it in his own mind. He just wants to live. The other way of looking at it is, the guy's walking along, he sees another guy drop his wallet on the ground. He picks it up, looks at it, there's money in it. He says, well, I'm certainly not going to put it back on the ground, because if I do, someone else will just pick it up. You know? Well, if I don't go in there and loot that store, someone else is going to go in and loot that store. You know? That's justification. I tell you, the heart beats the same way for these scholarly guys that went to Harvard or wherever they went, that think they know everything when they only know half of everything. That's why you got two halves of a brain. I don't know why they don't use it. But anyways, I'm calling for discrimination, okay? Because these guys are discriminated against me. Oh, you're one of those cars. I know what a car is. Yeah, I don't believe in cars. You know what? There's Volkswagens and limousines and school buses, you know? I mean, there's lots of different kinds of Christians. Lots. So, oh, you're one of those redneck Christians, you know? You're one of those moronic idiots, you know? That is pretty big hate. You know? That's a lot of hate. And the only thing that's going to happen through all of this is civil war, you know? Oh, the Christians did all this, the Christians did all that. Ever since the beginning of time, the Christians have been doing all this. You know, you ought to count the number of bodies of Christians who died, because especially in the first century, they had 12 churches. They were going around trying to convince people to love and not hate. Who was the one doing the shooting, man? Throughout the entire Dark Ages. What is the Dark Age, man? The whole Dark Ages was a period of time when we were basically consumed by the beast. Not Christianity. So I really request that you guys stop and think about who you're listening to, because they're filling you with a line of bull. Yeah, you can go back in history and look at all those artifacts. So can Christians. We see it a different way. We see a piece of wood and there's no rings in it. We look at it a different way than you do. The guy tells me, oh, well, look who found it. The guy that found it, he's an amateur. You know, you can't believe him. He's like all those other guys. He's just promoting his book. I'm like, yeah, but what about the evidence? I mean, you slam the guy and demonize the guy who happened to die in 1999. But what about the evidence he found? I mean, doesn't that count for something? Only if the right geologist finds it does it count. And only if it supports our hypothesis does it count. If it doesn't support our hypothesis, it doesn't exist. Well, one of these days, we're not going to exist if we don't straighten up. That's my prediction. You know? When God comes down here, if he does, finding me where I am, believing in him, I've really got nothing to lose. He's going to come one way or the other. That's my opinion. And if he doesn't, in time, the earth stops spinning. What's our kids going to do? Is this what we're leaving for our kids to inherit? A new world order without God? Shameful.